live. So, just to recap, we've been talking about the planets Neptune and Saturn in the sign of Pisces. And I was thinking about the fact that Mars has just had a square to Saturn and then will square Neptune on the 14th, the day after tomorrow. And then I got to looking at the rest of the planets here. And if you'll notice here down in Sagittarius, we have Mars coming through, squaring Saturn and squaring Neptune. And then the sun will do the same thing, square Saturn, then square Neptune. And then Venus will do the same thing, square Saturn, then square Neptune. And then finally, Mercury will square Saturn and square Neptune. So there's something to this squaring Saturn, squaring Neptune that we really need to get locked in, because for it to happen so many times back to back to back, and all these planets having these transits, it's kind of speaking really loudly to say there's something here you don't want to miss, right? So we were talking about how there's different ways to think of the Saturn, Neptune configuration. Like we could think of it as like in Sleeping Beauty when you had Maleficent, which Saturn is a malefic planet, come in and she cursed baby Aurora. And then there was one more fairy godmother who was able to take that curse and alchemize it and say, okay, she's going to sleep, but the whole kingdom is going to sleep. Yep, absolutely. Sag and Pisces is like ideology versus idealism. And so I think what we're going to be doing is like each planet is going to square Saturn, and Saturn's going to be like, oh, where are my glasses? What have you learned? Get your pen and your paper. What have you learned? What have you accomplished with Saturn and Pisces? It was a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions, but what were you able to take away from it? What were you able to accomplish? What do you have to show for it? That's Saturn, right? And then after the square with Saturn, we have Neptune come in and say, yeah, but are you okay? And here's a cookie. Or at least some good vibes, you know? And so I think that when we're looking at those planets in this succession, I think that we'll have Mars represent our will and what we've learned through this transit of Saturn and Pisces, and then Neptune and Pisces. The sun will represent our spirit and the self, and what we take away as we move out of this Saturn and Pisces, or Saturn and Pisces and Neptune and Pisces. Then Venus will represent our hearts and the changes that have been how our hearts have been transformed by these transits of Saturn and Pisces the last 3 years, and then Neptune and Pisces the last 14 years. And then, of course, Mercury is last, and Mercury represents the mind, our thinking, our communicating, and that's actually a good last one, because then we'll be able to tie it all up in a nice, neat bow and be able to write about it, think about it, talk about it, all the things. Welcome in, Nancy. So I was trying to unpack that, and I think we nailed it down, me and you guys. Thank you so much for your help. A lot of times thinking out loud is what really helps. Mommy the Creator, welcome in. So, yeah, it was fun. So, now that we've got, and then, I mean, these planets are coming from, like you said, ideology versus idealism. These planets are in the sign of wisdom, expansion, searching, seeking, okay? So we're thinking higher learning, higher education, reaching upwards for what's above us, you know, expanding our minds, expanding our knowledge. So with these planets coming from this aura of celebratory energy, is Christmas season, is holiday solstice season, and then for them to be coming up against Pisces, which is the sign of kind of like ideals and um fantasies and dreams and emotion, deep emotion, which we need that emotion to really foster our intuition. And I know you need emotion to really manifest also. You really need to, I think if you don't rely on your emotions and kind of transform them to help you manifest things, then we're not getting it right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, what do they tell you to do? Like, okay, if you want to manifest this certain lifestyle or this certain change, what do you want to do? You want to channel the feelings you would have if you had that thing, if that thing were happening, and get into that space of where you're feeling those vibes. And then once you get into that flow, then you're more ready to manifest. So I think that's really what's important here with the Sag Pisces connection. And then, and then the ruler of both of these signs, Sagittarius and Pisces, are ruled by Jupiter. So where's Jupiter? Jupiter is the host of all of these squares. So Jupiter is in Cancer right now. So Jupiter is saying that all of this stuff has to do somehow with our feelings of security, safety, and protecting our dreams and our beliefs. Divine feminine, yes, the divine feminine. So this is definitely somehow wrapped up in the divine feminine, our mothers, the women in our lives, the feminine energy in our lives, however that manifests in your life, and protection, because Cancer is about protection and Jupiter is about protection. Jupiter protects all of us because it's a huge gas giant that circles around and protects all of the planets that are within the inner planets. So we wouldn't be here if it weren't for Jupiter. Purpose and destiny versus fate and capitalism. For sure. For sure. Thank you, Jupiter. And thank you for reminding me, Jupiter. Like, wait a minute, don't forget about me. So we have these transits happening over the course of the next couple weeks during the holiday season. We'll be getting these squares, but now we know what we're feeling, what we're taking, or what we're looking for, what we're seeking in the midst of these transits is more understanding. Hi, Spirit 33. So now that we know what we're looking for or how we want to experience this, it's definitely something that is more tangible. Welcome back, TS. Hi, Rhonda. So now that we have Jupiter in the mix, let's take a look. Jupiter is retrograde. So I think with a retrograde Jupiter hosting these squares, I think it's really going to be about our look within to what we believe. Oh, no worries, TS. I think it'll be something internalized of what we believe. And really, if you think about the themes of ideology, spirituality, beliefs, it really all connects, doesn't it? It's what has the last 14 years, the last 3 years changed about what we believe about ourselves, about our will, about our hearts. How are we expanding? Exactly. Yeah, I've changed a lot. And I'm excited to keep changing. I think that's what keeps us resilient is being able to change and move with the, and I'm a mutable double-bodied sign. Okay, I'm a Gemini. So I'm always like, the two sides are helpful. You got to have the two sides. You got to be able to see it from one side or the other. That's true knowledge anyway. But I do really feel like flexibility and mutability is the way to go when it comes to resilience. If you're rigid, then it's going to be tough to have changes happen around you. You know, Vettius Valens is the great astrologer that we follow in ancient Hellenistic astrologer. And he charges us to be soldiers of fate and to be not moved by the wheel turning and our fortune being good, or the wheel turning and our fortune being bad, but to walk a steady path, not swayed one way or the other, knowing that if we're in a phase, a time of good fortune, that's temporary. If we're in a time of bad fortune, that's temporary. What's not temporary is us and our experience and how we show up and how we expand and how we decide to try to just look at the signs and be in awe of them. I don't think really there's much more to it than that. It's to just experience it, acknowledge it, you know, love it. Yeah, it gives me chills too. It's my astrology juju stuff. But yeah. And then let's see, for next year, we have, you see how we have all these planets, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Sagittarius? They're all going to move into Capricorn. And we're going to have a big Capricorn stellium. And then they're going to all move into Aquarius. And then we're going to have a big stellium there with Pluto there. So any babies born during Aquarius season, they're going to have quite the chart. So let's see. Do you have any questions for me? I have 6 more minutes. I know that's going to be some powerful, powerful babies. Eighth house of intimacy. Let's see. What do I have for eighth house stuff? Intimacy, longevity. Saturn ruling your eighth house is good fortune, actually. They say if Saturn is in or ruling your eighth house, what is going to happen in Pisces? Neptune and Saturn are going to move out of Pisces in January and February. So if you have Pisces placements, if you are a Pisces sun, rising, moon, this is going to be good because those planets are moving out of your house. Saturn has been presenting challenges for Pisces for the last 3 years. So when Saturn moves out of Pisces, yeah, that is a good sign, Asteria. Uranus and Neptune in the 8th and Capricorn. Yeah, I'm happy for Pisces too. They deserve a break. You guys are getting a break. That's the easy answer, Kevin, is that you guys are getting a break. The only thing is that these planets are going to move. Neptune and Saturn are going to move into Aries. So my poor Aries risings folks, Aries folks are going to get it. But I think they're up for it. And it'll be a new challenge, a new frontier. It will be an adventure at the very least. Uranus and Neptune there, that is a good sign. So those will be activated for you. Yeah, for sure. Let's see what kind of music we got going on here. I got this instrumental Christmas music, but I'm not feeling this. Let's do something vibey. Yes, absolutely. And Aries will definitely whip up that Saturn and give it, because Saturn Saturn does well in Aries. Yep. And Gemini, yep. Working in halftime. Seconds to borderline. Relation. Oh, thank you. I've been trying to change my wings lately.